on. When we train, it's a lot different when we're actually fighting. You have to protect your opponent. You have to protect your training partner. The big gloves will allow him to actually throw some punches and keep Rich, who's about to fight, safe.
Yeah, it's very important in these open workouts, especially this close to a fight, that Rich and Kung only train with people from their gym. They will not train with other people. The reason for that is that it's very, there's a likelihood of injury when you train with people you don't normally train with. So whenever they do open workouts, and actually when they're getting ready for a fight, even a month or two out, they have a specific people they train with. Also, during the demonstration, should any of the media have any questions, there's going to be a microphone floating around out there, right there. And if you have a question, please feel free to ask. We'll be happy to answer it for you.
Rich is here warming up right now. Shadow boxing and visualizing is a big part of our training. Getting loose and fluid before you actually hit pads or drill with a partner is super important to avoid injury. And also, in a general day, you've got maybe 3 to 6 hours of training to do. So there's different levels of training. There's a lower level where we're doing stretching and some shadow boxing and getting your body fluid, and then there's the actual mitt work with the trainer. Then there's actual sparring that you do with opponents. And again, in that sparring, we're using headgear, mouthpieces, shin guards, cups, as much protective gear as you can use.
Uriah, why don't you explain what you mean by visualization when you're shadow boxing?
Visualization and hitting mitts as well is a way for you to imagine what you're going to do in your fight. All these punches have a purpose. You're aiming for the chin, you're aiming for the liver, you're setting a move up. So these combinations are not just blind punches. These are punches that are used as tools to set up the ultimate finish to an opponent. So you may see Rich moving away, he's pausing, he's faking, ducking under, he's looking for his opening, and looking for that shot.
The other thing I think is important to mention is that right now Rich is going at about 25%. This is not going to be the same Rich Franklin that you see in the cage on Saturday night at the Venetian. He's going slow, he's getting warmed up, and he's really more working on accuracy, making sure his punches are landing in the right spot.
You can see Rich is starting out with some punch combos, and now he's adding in some kicks. In mixed martial arts, you've got all these weapons. There's punches, there's kicks, there's elbows, there's knees. And we'll see a little bit later, there's also an option to take a guy down. And then there's a whole different game once the fight goes to the ground.
Talk a little bit about timing, what he's doing here as far as his timing goes, and how when you enter into the cage, how do you determine timing with your opponent?
When he's talking about timing, it's super important, not only for you to dictate when you're going to throw your strikes, whether it be a knee or a punch or an elbow, but also when your opponent is most open and most vulnerable. Some of the most devastating punches are the ones that you don't see. A punch that may not have the most power on it, but hits you on the right spot. Maybe times a person coming in, so you use his body weight against him, and compound the pressure of the punch and your opponent's movement.
notice Rich's footwork. He's not standing flat-footed. He's not just, when he throws punches, he's moving his feet to keep his opponent guessing as to where he's coming from. Like Urijah just said, I don't believe I've ever talked to a fighter who said, I saw that punch coming and just couldn't get out of the way when he got knocked out. They always say to you, I never saw it coming.
Yeah, it always shocks me. You'll see a bunch of huge punches being thrown throughout a fight. You'll see him land him flush, and then a little punch will hit right on the button, and the guy will go out unconscious. The best fighters are the fighters that can find those openings and capitalize on them. That's all part of the visualization process, the setups, the timing. That's what Rich is working on right now. Ways to set that up and make sure that they can open the defense of the opponent and land the big shot.
You see Rich warming up, he's becoming a little bit more explosive, a little bit faster, he's starting to move a little bit better.
Yeah. Guys, mixed martial arts is so important in the fact that there's a lot of different weapons. So when you're looking to set a guy up, he's got to honor a takedown, he's got to honor a kick, he has to watch what's happening.
What do you mean by honor? What does that mean?
Honor means you believe it's real. So if he fakes a takedown, it could open up a punch. He fakes a takedown, there's a punch opening.
You're right there.
If he fakes a punch, he can set up his takedown. There's a double leg right there.
I see.
Okay, so this opens up a lot of different options in a fight. It's not like boxing, it's not like judo, it's not like jiu-jitsu. It's a mixture of everything. So you see Rich here is going to hit some nice easy shots, and he's going half speed. And we can see him actually take his opponent down. This is a body lock, inside trip, and now there's a lot of options in here. The guy on bottom has to be careful of a couple different things. You can ground and pound, you can start punching or elbowing. There are rules in mixed martial arts. You can't kick a guy in the head when he's down or knee him in the head when he's down. But you can throw punches and elbows. If you want, you can back away and let him stand up, which the ref will stand him back up, and then you continue fighting.
Now, Urijah, I don't believe I ever saw you back up and let somebody stand up in that position.
Yeah, not necessarily my style, but you'll see here another option. If you're doing ground and pound and the guy's not going out, you might want to get to a more dominant position. In this situation, you can pass the guard, which means get away from the center of the opponent's legs, like Rich is doing here. Isolated position, and you can again start to punch, kick, or elbow, or knee or elbow, or go for a submission, and there's a lot of different submissions in this position.
Now, one of the things that people don't realize is in this position right there, Rich is very heavy on his opponent. He's got his body across his chest, which prevents him from breathing. So the guy on the bottom many times can become more tired than even the guy on top.
Again, the jiu-jitsu part of sport is one of the most intricate and detailed. The fathers of the actual UFC, the Gracie family, and that's what they mastered. They were there to prove what they could do. Here's a triangle choke. Rich has a lock on the head and the arm that's cutting off the blood to the brain. If the guy does not tap out, then he can go unconscious. It's very honorable in our sport to tap out. It's not frowned upon. If you've been caught in a move to avoid damage to your body, you give a submission, you tap out, and it's honorable.
So, Urijah, I'll explain what tap out is, because I don't think I've ever seen you do it. So, what tapping out is when the opponent has you in a position where you cannot escape, or you feel like you're going unconscious, you can tap. The match is immediately over. The referee stops the match, and the guy who tapped out loses the match, the other guy wins.
Rich is showing an array of submissions from here. He's done a Kimura, he's been doing triangles, he's done some arm locks. There's submissions, and this is one thing that's kind of a misunderstanding in our sport. For guys who don't understand the sport, being on the bottom might look like it's a really bad situation. Some guys love to be on the bottom because that's where they do their attacks. So again, here's Rich, he's on the bottom. He may look like he's losing the fight, and then all of a sudden, he's into a dominant position. He can submit a guy. There he is, and the guy taps.
There's all of these moves have a name, by the way. All of these things are not by accident. They know exactly what they're doing. When he flipped and got his arm caught, he did that exactly the way he wanted to do it.
Yeah, let's just take a look what it looked like. Let's have him go through a punch combo, a takedown, a little ground and pound to a submission. This is a combination. This is a mixture of everything that makes mixed martial arts. So you come out here, Rich is throwing some punches and kicks, and both doing some stand-up offense, which every fight starts. He sets up a great takedown, does a little damage, opens the guy up, passes, and now he's in position to go for a submission. Here he's setting it up. He's got a Kimura, and transitions into an armbar, and his opponent taps out. That could be the end of the fight.
Now you can see why our fighters have to be trained in all the different aspects. You could have the world's best boxer, but if a guy like Rich knows that his opponent is an excellent boxer, Rich has all those tools, he's going to take him down to the ground and submit him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give Rich Franklin a big hand. Okay, and now we're going to bring, thank you, Rich.